everyone. Welcome to New Música Latina. And today we are with JAB The Zorro. He is a brand new artist, and we're going to talk about him, his career, his music, and future plans. So, hi, JAB. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing?
We're good, thank you. I'm so happy that you're joining us today. I know this has been a really big year slash stressful because it was a year where you launched your music career pretty much, and all of a sudden you're hit with a pandemic. So how did you do it? How do you work? How do you launch your career as an artist in the middle of a very uncommon time for the music industry?
It was definitely. It was kind of like, do I want to? Is my heart in this or not? Um, and I said yes. I'm just gonna do it. A lot of people told me no. I have a couple friends in the industry. You know, they were like publicists, reporters, stuff like that, and they're like, I seriously advise against it. I don't really recommend it, and it was kind of discouraging. But at the same time, again, it was like that thing: do I want this or not? And I said, yeah, hell yeah, I want to do this. Like, I don't see myself doing anything else. I always told myself, if I could do music, I'm going to do it. And that's it. It was just kind of like, it was as simple as that for me. Um, and even though it wasn't easy in the beginning, I still managed to put together a project right before quarantine hit. And then once quarantine hit, I right away started working on my second single because I knew there would be some challenges already. There would be time delays and things like that. So it wasn't easy, but I'm happy I did it. I'm happy to be ending the year with being able to put up a Spotify for artists like the Rap 2020. You know, it's still like an accomplishment for me. I'm like, okay, we did it. You know, I got it done.
You're officially an artist.
I am officially an artist. Yes.
What led you to decide that this is what you wanted to do, that music was your thing? Were you always did you always feel like this affinity to music growing up? And when did you decide this is what I'm gonna do and I'm gonna go for it now?
Um, it kind of goes a little bit back from my teen years. Actually, no, even early on. Music has always been kind of revolved around my family. It was one of those things that music became like part of my daily life, just in general. And I always told myself I would produce music one day. I never knew how to get into the entertainment industry. I didn't know anything. I knew there was a creative bone in me. I just didn't know which alley I was in. So after college, I said I'm going to do acting, which I started to do acting a little bit. Did some student films, independent projects, and then after that, it was one of our classes. We started to do vocal warm ups, and then I started to notice that there was like a tone in my voice, and I was like, "Can I sing?" And I was like, "I never really tried." So I started to take vocal lessons. I was like, oh, I actually can sing. I mean, I'm not like uh, opera, but I'm like, I can definitely, I have melodies in me, and there's a creativity that's constantly happening where I'm like, oh, I have this melody in my head, or I have these lyrics in my head. So then I started to take note of that probably about like 3, 4 years ago, and I started to just write it down. Um, I have the same notebook. It's wrinkled right now. I actually need a new notebook of just filled with just random lyrics. I write stuff on my phone. And at the time, I was also bartending, so I was also always around music that was current. And I was like, I could do this. Like I was like, I could definitely do this. And it just kind of was like, it became a thing where I started to self motivate myself until I actually got into it. And I was like, all right, let me look for a producer. Let me like, let's really do this, you know? And then it happened, and here we are, you know?
So I've listened to your songs. You put out in Impulso is your latest, and your
Yeah.
first single was Dale. And when
Yeah.
I heard them, I felt like a really classic reggaeton vibe from the early 2000s. Is that what you were going for? What made you gravitate towards that genre in particular?
It was my nod to what inspired me in reggaeton. So Dalit for me was like, I felt like it needed to like pay my nods to who inspired me. So big inspirations for me are will always be like Jay-Z. I'm born and raised from Queens, so you know Jay-Z is a big deal for us, and um, so that was my nod to that towards the ending and a little bit of the hip hop element. And then it was also like Daddy Yankee. Like for me, it was Daddy Yankee, We Seen and then. So it was kind of that's where I pull inspiration from. Is sort of like the classics, and that Dale was my nod to that. On Impulso, I definitely was more of a risk taker. I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. Let's kind of go with it. And at the time, I had a couple things in my ear. I'd just come off it was a Super Bowl with J Lo and Shakira. So that mix of the J Lo J Balvin one, I burnt that out of the amount of times I heard it. I was like, there's something so dope in there that like has old songs, new songs, but it feels fresh. And that was like my main kind of the backbone of the track. And then after that, I pulled inspiration from, I love Sean Paul, I love Tiny. And at the time I had started, so actually I was so stuck on Impulso, and I'm like, it's missing something. I know it's missing something. And then I interviewed Tiny. I interviewed Tiny, which was weird. I was like, I never thought that would be the way that I would finish my song. So it was something talking to him. I don't know. It just kind of all made sense. And I was like, I know what it needs. And then boom, I finished that beat switch, which is what it needed because the song was lacking energy. There was something in there.
What are your plans for 2021? Are you planning anything in particular for next year? Are you planning on releasing more music? Is there an EP? Am I pushing it too far?
No. Go ahead. I am actually working on my next follow-up single. It's taken me a little bit longer because I restructured a couple things. My next single is going to be definitely more hip hop based. Definitely pulling more from that. I don't have any reggaeton in it, so now I'm like, it's a little bit. I'm taking one more risk, but I think it's part of the process too.
Because I feel like you're a new artist, you're discovering your sound and you're figuring out the things that work for you and where you're comfortable, but also innovative at the same time.
Correct. And for me, this one is going to be more English than Spanish. So I'm also switching it up a little bit too. My first two, I had, some English listeners and they were like, I'll support you. I don't know what you're saying, but I'll do it. So this is like my treat to them. Like, hey guys, this one's for you too. And then going forward, for this one, because of the pandemic, I was in the middle of rehearsals actually for Dale to shoot videos. And then I was going to shoot one for Impulso too. So that never happened, but it was just a pandemic and I respected it, of course. But then for this one, I'm like, there's a video, it's happening. So new single, video, I would definitely love to put together like an EP. I think that would be the next step. And then I think branching off a little bit more. With my two singles, I've been able to kind of push pretty far with no video. I've been able to get connected, talk to people, being able to do this. I'm very appreciative of it. And so with the next one, I'm like, go big or go home. And it's just kind of like, do it better than the last and keep that mentality all the way up.
Oh, we were talking about genres before. You're mixing a lot of things, you're trying out new things. If you had to choose one genre that you had to stick to for the rest of your music career, what would it be?
Definitely on the hip hop side, 100%. Hip hop, rap. Yeah, I'm definitely that. I listen to it a lot. So it's also, I would definitely be in that bubble because I enjoy it. And I think there's a little bit more room to play with. I think sometimes people wanted the reggaeton genre to just be reggaeton. And I like that those rules are being bent, but there's still people who fight against it and be like, well, it's not reggaeton anymore. Why is it under reggaeton? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's that conversation happening. So for me, the hip hop that definitely loves you. I think there's more room to play with over there.
So what artist would you like to collaborate with? If someone told you today, listen, you can collaborate with whoever you want, who would it be?
Number one for me would be Bad Bunny. That's like the number one. That's my Pisces, bro. I gotta go for it. So I think I love him and Tiny for being huge risk takers and landing it. Not just being like, all right, let's just give it a shot and see if it works, but literally like committing to it. And I think that commitment is really seen across and it's received well. Because how many artists have kind of faded out after an album or two or a year or two when they start like experimenting with sounds. And I feel like that experimentation has made them even larger than what they were before.
And so now that the holidays are coming, do you have any plans? Are you doing anything special? Are you staying with your family?
So for the holidays, it was tricky, getting together because we're all spread out throughout the states. So my holiday gift to myself, my Christmas gift to myself is actually relocating to Miami.
Oh, wow.
Even as a hardcore New Yorker as I am, I was like, I think this is the move I need to do. And nothing is permanent. So I'm like, let's try something new. Let's give it a shot. And I think it's a new time for new opportunity. I'm like, everything is a risk that I'm doing. So let's just throw one more on the list and just go for it,
you're a new artist and a lot of people are going to be getting to know you soon. Let's say that I don't know you. How would you introduce yourself as an artist to me?
Oh, I have an interesting backstory.
Oh, tell me
So
about it.
yeah, I'm here. So when I was so in the middle of between college, I put myself through school. So I actually used to be a stripper. So I put myself through school through stripping, and that was, yeah, you see, you didn't expect that. So that was like,
That's so
yeah,
cool though. I mean, it's a job. Listen, it's a job that pays the bills.
it's a job, and yeah, and it got the job, and it got the job done. I was, as a goal to myself, my parents immigrated here from Colombia, Ecuador. um, I feel like we had like an unspoken rule between my sister and I. We were like, we're gonna graduate school, we're gonna do it. And I had told myself, whatever I want to experiment with life, let me do it after my degree. It was just like a thing to myself. And it got tough, and especially like tuition. I feel for student loans, and students right now. My tuition got crazy, and I was like, I can't afford this anymore on the job that I have. And I was just like, well, what do we do? And I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna be a stripper. Like, this is what it is. It kind of was like, let's just do it. Um, I was serving, bartending. I've always worked in hospitality, so I feel like it was like the next step that I was like, okay, well, I think I can make this amount of money in 3 days, and then I have school and I have homework, and so I was like, and it was not like I was taking 8 credits. I'm taking a full 18 credit semester. So I was like, I need to make the money in 3 days, and I need time to go, go back to school, go to school, and do homework, and go to the gym. So I was like, let's. It was like, I saw it as like a time saver, time management. That's how I saw it. I put myself through school, and I still continued after school. I would bartend. Sometimes some nights were slow, and I was like, we're gonna go back into it, and let's just do it. So my next song is about me, telling more of my stories, more biographical. Now I'm talking about my time when I was stripping. I'm talking about my time. I was homeschooled throughout my young years, so it's like there's all these transitions of personalities I had to become, and I was like, and now I get to be JAB The Zorro. I'm the artist. That's in my past, but that made me who I am now. That put me where I'm at and the mentality that I'm in, and let's just go for it. Like, fuck it.
And one last thing before we wrap this up, I want to know why Jab the Zorro.
So JAB The Zorro, which part? What, the whole thing, or you want me to break it down?
Let's break it down real quick.
So JAB, those are my initials.
Okay.
So that was easy, and I've gotten called that as a nickname from time to time. I mean, I've always gotten like jokes, because like physical jab. So there's that, and then Zorro is something that I always got attached to as a child. There were never a lot of Latino superheroes or that sort of like persona for Latinos that were also Latino. So I held on to that a lot. Everybody is always like Superman, Batman, and stuff like that. I always loved, and it was funny, I always loved Spider-Man because he was from Queens. And then I love Zorro because he was Latino. But I was like, I'm not gonna be jabbed as Spider-Man. Let's do Zorro. Let's go for it. I think it's dope. I think the imagery is dope, the way it lays out, and what it means to me at the end of the day, which is that like somebody pushing boundaries, someone like standing for something. And so me, I was like, yeah, I definitely stand for a lot of things, and that feels authentic to me. That feels genuine to me. So I was like, we're gonna ride it. We're gonna do it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. And I'm really excited about your future and what's next for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time as well.